Dr. Teddy Willsey here for recovery workout number 6. The focus for this workout is going to be joint specific. We're going to talk about shoulder mobility, shoulder stability, and thoracic spine rotation. Those three really kind of go hand in hand. One example I will often give people is, let's say you're reaching behind you and you need to grab something. You're going to need three things. You're going to need shoulder mobility to get there. So that's just ball and socket shoulder mobility. You're going to need thoracic spine rotation in order to reposition your whole trunk, right? Because you're not going to just reach with your shoulder. The third thing you need is shoulder stability. So once you're in that position, once you're in that potentially compromised kind of reaching out away from your body position, you need the stability, you need your rotator cuff and everything else to fire and hold your shoulder there. So if we address these three things through a recovery workout, through kind of a prehab approach, that's going to help you with any shoulder issues you might have down the road. The first thing we're going to do, we'll just jump right into it, is going to be with mini bands. And this is one of my favorites. I use this in warm-ups. I use it all the time, really. But we're going to squeeze the elbows together here. The purpose for that is so that when we come out like that, we're not using our delts, we're using our external rotators. So squeeze the elbows in, rotate the arms out, hold right here. We're going to hold for about 5 seconds. Come on out here. Now in this position, my shoulder blades are pushed out away from my body, okay? I'm not squeezing back in, I'm holding them out. Then third thing, I'm going to reach overhead. When I'm reaching overhead, I don't want my head to dive forward. I want to stay nice and tall. Come on down and back in. So we're going to do 5 of those. Just holding this position, out, up, etc. From there, once you get a nice little burn going, we're going to come into an external rotation. We're going to do 5 here. 5 pulses here. And then overhead. Now this overhead is pretty tough. So for example, I'm not in like a true 180 degrees overhead, but you know, I'm probably around 160 degrees. So this next movement is going to be T-spine mobility. So I gave you that example of reaching behind you. These are going to be 2 movements that I really like when you can do this with a single ring or with the TRX if you kind of just double it up right here. The first one is a lateral side bend. So my front leg, or rather my leg that's closest to the rings of the TRX, is always going to be forward. So I'm going to side bend, getting a large stretch all the way across my side. I'm going to reach twice there. And we'll show that from a different angle. So I'm side bending, really reaching up towards the ceiling, towards the corner right there. Then the next thing is a rotation. So I'm going to come a little bit further out because with this rotation, my arm is going to end up being straight. So that's why I'm going to step further away with my feet, let my arm come straight here. And then here's the tricky part. I'm going to reach as far as I can and then come back. Reach. And we're going to take 2 deep breaths here. Try to relax, sit back into that stretch, and then come back. So for these, we're going to do 4 side bends and 4 rotations on each side. This next exercise is going to be a shoulder stability exercise. Now we're all probably familiar with the bottoms up position for the kettlebell. What I'm going to do here is come back into kind of the start of a Turkish get-up, or similar to a kettlebell arm bar. So with this bottoms up holding position, what I'm going to do is swing my body over, and the challenge comes in because my shoulders are facing towards the ground and I'm trying to stabilize. You can see my right arm shaking. I'm really pushing up and away, reaching towards the ceiling. Now if I want to get real tricky here, I can do a little bit of an arm bar rotation as well. So what we're going to do is 5 to 8 of these on each side, and it's pretty straightforward. Just hold, swing through, and this is the hardest part right here where people struggle, because I have to really sell out. I have to go from my shoulders being back this way some to all the way through. Our next exercise is going to be from the push-up position, and it's also working on shoulder stability. We're going to alternate arms and legs reaching out. So right here, trying to maintain a stable core, stable base the whole time, I'm going to reach both arm and leg, 5 count, back down. Try to not shift on this weight transition. Reach. 2, 3, 4, 5. Back down. If you find that to be very challenging, or you're kind of all over the place, start by putting your feet a little wider and just reaching with one arm. And then as you start to feel more comfortable with that, you can add in the leg movement. This next movement is pretty common. Now you can use a PVC pipe or some sort of light bar. You don't want to use a barbell here or something that's too heavy. But I'm going to grab it underhand with both hands. And keep in mind, this underhand position, it requires a lot of external rotation. So for some people, getting in this underhand position and then all the way overhead is challenging. You can see that for me, my hands start to kind of lift off the bar. That's just because I have some limits in external rotation. But I'm always working on it. So from here, now you can have your elbows on a bench, elbows up on a box, whatever you want. You're going to kind of sit back and then pull your hands towards the back of your head and let your elbows come up high. We can do about 8 or 10 of these. And we want more of the motion to come from our thoracic spine in this area and not extend so much to our lumbar spine and low back. If you need to move your hands closer together, like I have here, as opposed to being out wide, that's fine. Some of you might have crossover symmetry or Team 4 core and one of these kind of nice bungees. It doesn't really matter what you use here. You can even use a cable machine, but I'm going to take us through 4 movements. The first one is just going to be a T or a reverse fly. One key here, I want the shoulder blades to move forward. Allow your shoulders to kind of be free on these. So we got reverse flies. Do 5 there. And we're going to come up to this Y position. We're going to do 5 here as well. After the Ys, I'm going to come up and down. I call these angels. I'm trying to keep my arms back at the plane of my body here. Easier said than done, obviously. So we're going to go 5 angels there. Last one's going to be a face pull, or we'll call this an external rotation. It's a little bit different than a face pull, but similar motion. We end up right here. One of the most common compensations that you'll see with external rotation is wrist extension. Let's try to limit that.